to say less. Guess who's finally getting his powers?
Are you sure?
Hi, welcome back. I'm Seth. Welcome to my living room, or at least one corner of it. This is my standard def retro media setup. I'm really proud of it. It's taken a lot of time over the years to slowly find a better and better TV and mod more and more consoles to add to this setup. Every single thing that you see on these shelves has been its own fun little rabbit hole. While I'm really happy with the state of it right now, there's still much more I plan to do. I need to recap this TV, I want to mod all of these consoles to use USB-C power, I've got a Dreamcast sitting on my shelf that I still need to fix and mod, and I'm still on the lookout for a decent Sega Saturn. If any of those projects sound interesting to you, drop a comment or subscribe. There's more content on the way about this setup. Anyway, I'm not here to glaze my own setup. I'm here today to talk about one specific console. Come on, come closer. This is my original Xbox. I didn't grow up with an Xbox. This is one I picked up from some woman on Facebook Marketplace like 2 years ago. It's soft modded. Here's the copy of Splinter Cell and the adapter cable to prove that I did it myself. I won't be telling you how to mod an Xbox today, but I will link to the consolemods.org tutorial in the description if you're interested. Who am I kidding? If you clicked on this video, you've probably already seen Matt KC's videos on the Xbox. God knows I have. It was half the reason I picked one up in the first place. Anyway, I love this machine and I boot it up quite often. In fact, more often than these other consoles. Yes, even though I grew up on Star Fox 64, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and Dance Dance Revolution, I spend more time using the Xbox than anything else here. Why? Because it's actually an excellent media center device. This console is capable of streaming modern music and video, even in the year of our Lord 2025. There's been plenty of talk on YouTube about how modded Xboxes can play games from the hard drive or emulate N64 or whatever, but basically no one is talking about the media capabilities of the Xbox anymore. So today, let's do that. Let's see how capable this little box is of not only playing games, but streaming any movie or show you could possibly want to your classic CRT displays. So, some context for why I think this is so cool. First, I love CRTs. I have a bit of a collection, and I do actually use them quite a bit. This HD CRT is my main bedroom TV, this Dell monitor combined with an open source scan converter is my sorta test bench display, and this Trinitron in the living room gets used a whole bunch for watching and playing standard def media. Next to the 4K LCD, of course. Boo, ew, LCD. If you're curious about the model of this CRT, it's a Sony KV-27FV300. Not quite the fabled 310, but it's probably the closest I'll ever get to finding one. It looks amazing and has really, really good speakers, including a built-in subwoofer. For watching 4x3 content from the era, it is absolutely perfect. Old TV shows and retro anime, which were made with TVs like this in mind, look especially good on this set, and it's my preferred way to watch that kind of video. Next bit of context. I also happen to be a physical media junkie. Are you? You should be. If you're tired of the fact that your access to content is subject to the greedy whims of megacorporations, I highly recommend buying physical copies of your favorite media. Own your things, people. Stop being okay with renting. But as much as I love physical media, I do have to admit needing to put in discs and swap them out between episodes of TV is a little annoying. I've been trained pretty well by streaming services to binge dozens and dozens of episodes without moving an inch off my battered couch. So how can I binge all 25 episodes of Berserk 1997 on this CRT without having to lift a finger? Well, I could just buy a Roku, I guess, but I really don't want to mess with converting HDMI to component or, God forbid, composite and take up another set of my already limited inputs. I know there are Rokus that support analog outputs, but not only are those really expensive now, but I imagine they'll stop receiving software updates pretty soon if they haven't already. And I already hate streaming services. Maybe the Wii or PS2 could stream media? I remember watching tons of YouTube on the Wii back in the day. But those don't have built-in Ethernet ports, and their media playback capabilities are a little underdeveloped nowadays. Maybe I could plug in a PS3? Well, I've already got a PS3, and it's plugged into the HD CRT. It seems a little wasteful, or at least inefficient to have two of them, and I already have a PS2 plugged in. And I'd still be taking up yet another of my limited ports. Enter XBMC, or XBMC for Xbox, or Kodi, whatever the newest one is called when you're watching this. Basically, as soon as it was released, nerds like me were already seeing the potential in the Xbox for media playback. As early as 2002, work was being done on a media player for the Xbox, and in 2004, the first stable version of XBMC was released. And just wow, is this an excellent piece of software. Plays anything you could want to play on an Xbox, audio and video wise, with an extensive codec support list. It supports streaming over the internet, has super well developed library browsing and organization features. You can launch other software from it. Its feature list is expansive. I won't go into everything, but know that you'd be really, really hard pressed to find any other homebrew media player for any other console that's as good as XBMC is. Hell, it even supports plugins and add-ons via Python scripts. It's really cool. In fact, the software got so good that in 2010 they spun it off into its own multi-platform media center, which in 2014 was renamed to Kodi, and the version for the Xbox was forked off into its own thing. The version I'm using is still called XBMC for Xbox, but work is being done on bringing Kodi back to the Xbox. More on that later. Alright, so I've done enough explaining. Let's see the Xbox in action. The whole point of this video is to show you what the Xbox is capable of. Media streaming just happens to be the most interesting thing. So let's run the whole gauntlet from least to most exciting. First, games. Yep, here's a Half-Life 2 playing from the hard drive. I'm still blown away that Valve got this running on the Xbox at all. Reminder that it has only 64 megabytes of RAM. It runs. Not super well. Certainly some aliasing, that's for sure. Let me back in. I don't want to go. Barney, please. Let me back, Barney. Barney, where did you go? Next, emulators. So Star Fox 64 is one of my favorite games of all time, and it plays absolutely perfectly on the Xbox. Maybe not perfectly. Pretty dang close, though. It is pretty dark, but I think that's just how most emulators treat this game. I remember trying to play this on Project 64 and it also being super dark. This darker than America's future. Just kidding, nothing's that dark. The original Xbox is essentially just a mid-2000s, well, early 2000s PC with a Pentium 3 and an NVIDIA GPU. I've heard conflicting results about PS1 emulation. I've heard it works great. I've heard it also doesn't, but anything 16-bit or older would work perfectly. I happen to want to own original consoles, but if you want to play, like, emulate on your CRT that's 16-bit or older, the original Xbox can do that just fine. All right, now we can get to the media stuff. Let's boot up XBMC. Let's play a DVD. So yeah, this will play DVDs. You don't even necessarily need the DVD dongle. If it's soft modded, it will just play DVDs without it. But I got it because I am using this as a media device. It's actually pretty handy to use a remote rather than a controller. I would recommend, if you do buy this dongle, throw away the remote because this remote sucks. This is just a terrible remote. You can program universal remotes to work with that infrared dongle instead. So I would just do that. Skip. I want my beep boop. I want my beep boop. I'm really curious to see how much of this video gets copyright claimed, even though this is all being recorded on a CRT. Yep, DVDs play perfectly great. You need a DVD player for your CRT, this will do it just fine. Also, I'm gonna advocate for optical media. I know there's a lot of people out there, Bringus Studios, who hate DVDs. I think optical media, good. Oh, and CDs work too.
Next, local videos. Here's a TV special that I really loved watching as a kid. If any of y'all out there remember the Halloween tree, you're a real one. Comment below. I wasn't even born in the 90s, but this went hard. Leonard Nimoy? Yeah, that is Leonard Nimoy. Also, local pictures work. Here's a picture of my cat. And local music works. Here's Discovery again. What can I say? Discovery is one of the best albums of all time. Don't at me. All right, now for the really spicy stuff. Let's stream from my Plex server.
So if you thought I could just boot up Netflix on the original Xbox from 2001, I'm sorry to disappoint you. We have to do some other support on a different computer to make this all actually work. The magic that makes this work is the fact that I've set up a Plex server on a different computer on my network. If you want to do this, I highly recommend it. It's really not that hard. Again, this video isn't a tutorial, but all you need for a Plex server is to download some software, set up an account, and point it to a folder filled with all the video files that you want to stream to the Xbox. And for those of you screaming that I should just use Jellyfin instead, that's a good point. Definitely look into Jellyfin. Plex just happens to be what I was already using and what I already know works. So, for the Xbox, basically set up a Plex server, enable DLNA, Digital Living Network Alliance, a standard protocol that devices and software use to stream media over a home network. XBMC supports it. And then set up Plex with this profile, link in the description, and voila! Anything that's on the Plex server can now be streamed to our Xbox. And I do mean anything.
Here's the first episode of Severance that I definitely acquired legally.
And yes, streaming music over the network works too. I love that I can now use the speakers on that TV in the living room to play whatever I want, whenever I want. This is just so cool. I love getting to use vintage hardware to do modern things. It's just viscerally satisfying.
Something comforting.
Finally, YouTube playback. This works via an XBMC plugin, link in the description. Also, remember how I said that work was being done to bring Kodi back to Xbox? The person who developed this plugin is also the person working on that. Big props to them. I know how hard it is to make stuff like this, having a computer science degree myself. Maybe some of the experienced developers in the audience want to join the Xbox Scene Discord and help him. Anyway, to get this plugin working, I first needed to set up a self-hosted instance of Invidious, which is an open source front-end alternative to YouTube. That was its own rabbit hole, having to set up a Docker container, Postgres database, and some other authentication shenanigans to get it working. But with that set up and the plugin loaded into XBMC, voila! I can now browse, search, and watch YouTube on the original Xbox.
Let's see what's trending on gaming, because this is a gaming channel. We be gaming. Whoa, Hassan is lying again. That's not gaming, that's politics. Get out of here. Stealing $7,931 in Roblox. Okay, I don't actually want to watch that, but it'll tell me what stream I can use. They're all 360p. I'm pretty sure you can change that, configure that in some way so it's not all that. But let's, for the sake of this video, watch my previous one.
Hi, welcome back. I'm Seth. This is my 2010 mid at best compared to a flagship phone. So
Inception. This setup is currently playing a video that contains this setup. Whoa. You know, for it being 360p, it looks really not that bad. From what I've heard online, the Xbox is capable of streaming up to 720p content, so there's no reason you need to stick to 360. That's just currently how this setup is set up. Isn't this just so cool, getting hardware from 2001 to be able to connect to YouTube again and stream something? Stream this video that I released like a week or two ago? This is so much cooler than using a Roku. Not only is it just cool, like, this stuff still works. These old consoles are still functional. There's no reason you need to throw them out. These things don't deserve to be e-waste. So, to conclude, the original Xbox is an amazing device, and I think a must-add to any retro media setup. Not only are there a lot of amazing games to play, both native and emulated, but it's also an excellent way to stream standard def media to an old TV like this. There's a lot of amazing content out there that looks best on a 4x3 display, and the Xbox provides a convenient, era-appropriate hardware solution for watching it. Convenient if you're a tinkerer. Anyway, if you like this video about getting the most out of retro technology, consider liking or subscribing. I've got a bunch of videos about old consoles, computers, and CRT displays in the works. Anyway, that's all for now. Have a good one.